All right, today I'm going to take you on a little tour of Desmos. So the first place we are going to go is just desmos.com and click enter. And right on this homepage, if you were doing one of your student activities, this is where students would enter the code to join the activity that you have made. Teachers, this is where you can go in and build your activities or browse activities and edit them however you want. I will take you there in just a second. But for right now, I'm just going to click Graphing Calculator. And here is the Desmos screen. So I can log in with Google. I always tell students log in with Google. If I wanted to graph a linear line, I can do y equals negative 2x plus 6. And that's a decent graph, but not the best. So I can go over to the right-hand side and easily zoom out. I can also click down on the screen and move it around however I want. The benefit to Desmos is that you can not only put it in slope-intercept form, but you can do standard form. Let's change that to a Y, which your graphing calculators cannot do. It is easy to do higher level, higher powered polynomials. You also have a keyboard in the bottom left-hand corner. So if you click on that, you can type in exponents. If you needed an exponent that's a variable or a higher power, you would use the a to the b. Over here on functions, here's your sine and cosine. Here's some of your trig. You can scroll down, and there is more math functions that you may need. With the plus sign, most often I use this to create a table, and I can enter in a table. So 0, 1, and then Desmos will say, oh, it looks like you're going up by ones. So I just can keep hitting enter instead of having to type in the number each time. And then I can put in my y values, negative 2, 5, 18, 11, negative 1, and you can see them start to pop up. I can edit list if I want to change my color. Say I want everything in black so that it's consistent. I can change it easily to black. I can also do an open circle, which is great when you're doing greater than or less than or little x's. Click done. If I wanted to save this, I would just click save and give it a title. If I want to access something that I have saved, the 3 hamburger lines, these are all things that I have already worked on. So here is, we were going to start working on quadratics. So I had actually inserted a picture, which you do from that plus sign again. And I had worked on creating a quadratic model that would mimic a path of a motorcycle jumping over the buses. So this was great, and it's safe, so I don't have to do it again the following year. Another neat thing that this has is if you scroll down to the bottom, here's everything that I've done. Here are different graphs that Desmos already has for you. So if I wanted my students to start playing around with, let's not give them calculus today, point slope, open graph. And they've created different sliders. So you can change the slider, so it's changing your x value, and you can see how that is changing the graph on the screen, which is great for student self-discovery. You can label your different points, very easy. In the wrench over here, if you click on the bigger A, it makes it a little bit darker. X-axis, you can add in your label, so time in seconds. Your y-axis, I want height in feet. I can change my scale however I want. And then if I see it and I don't like my scale, I can always zoom in or zoom out very easily. When I'm ready to share this, I click on the Share Graph button. The easiest way is to have students export image, and you can have them do a small, medium, or thick. This is a lot easier than having them share the link, so you're not constantly clicking on links and going into the Desmos graph. You actually just have a solid picture of it, which it would download for you, and then you can easily upload into a Google Doc or whatever you are working on. So this is part 1 of Desmos. Part 2 is teacher.desmos.com. And here are different activities. There are quite a few pre-made activities. So I can search. So quadratics. Let's see what they've got for quadratics. And so it looks like they have 9 different activities, and they broke them down over here. Writing rules, the difference between linear, quadratic, exponential. I can click on that, and I can look at what they're asking. Let's say I like it, but I don't like it. Oh, I need to change some things with it. So what I can do is I can click on the 3 buttons, hit copy and edit, and then it will make a new copy of this whole activity, which then I can modify and save. So if I click on the plus, it will save it into whatever collection I need it to. When you're ready, you can assign, and it automatically imports into Google Classroom, which is amazing. So if I want my 2 Algebra 2 classes, I can click on that. I've set this so that it only posts as a draft, and that I have to go into Google Classroom and actually post the draft when I'm ready for it. But that's easily changed. My dashboard history are the different activities that I have done. So these are some of the ones that we've done recently. If I want to go in and see how students did, let's see, solutions, let's look at this one. I don't want you guys seeing my students' names, so I'm going to quickly anonymize. And so students will see the anonymized names, which is great for student confidentiality, especially if you are casting this so that your whole classroom can see what's going on. I can look at where students are. So check mark means that they've done whatever activities on there. X means that they skipped it over. I can look specifically at students. So this is a student screen and just see what the students are seeing. There's my teacher screen, so I can quickly look and see where everyone is and see where their points are. I can see their answers to whatever questions are on that slide. So what does it mean to be a solution? And usually when students are working through this, I would be talking about some of the answers that they are putting forth. Stating, so the ordered pair would be a solution if you entered the ordered pair into the equation and the resulting answer was true. This means it is a point on the line. Awesome answer. Would definitely share that with the class. I can make this into pacing. So I can put all students on the same screen and restrict them to whatever screen that I want so that they're just not clicking through. Or I can just let them go at their own pace throughout this activity. Again, the nice thing is with this is there's already so many awesome lessons made. Polygraph. That's it. So what happens is I would randomly get assigned with another student in the class. And so one of us is the person who picks the graph and the other person is the guesser. So if I pick that first graph, the other person will see all 16 tiles and then they'll have to start asking yes or no questions. Does your graph have a positive slope? Yes. So then they would eliminate anything that has a negative slope. And then they're trying to figure out which graph you picked in as few questions as possible, but it's great for having students use math terminology. Some of the things that I have built, so we did an exponential growth and decay, practice sine and cosine, which is something that I wanted students to use based off their notes. I think it was a day that I was absent, but then I can come in either from home or when I come back in the next day and look at what students actually did to check for any misconceptions. Again, same thing, I'm matching quadratics. This is something that I made. So students had to match the equation with the graph. Let's see, that wouldn't be that one. This one would open down with a vertex at 4, 1. I can't find the graph right now. It looks like there's too many right there. Oh, there it is. And then I can click on it and then I can, there we go. Now they're linked together. But this was a great activity to check for understanding with students as well. One of my favorite activities for students to do is called polygraph. So let's look at functions. So what happens, so I've already played this a couple of times, but what happens is students will log in and they will randomly get paired up with another student in the class. The goal is one of the students will choose their graph that they want to be. The other student has to ask yes or no questions to eliminate the rest of the graphs to determine which graph they did. This is awesome for getting students to talk about max, mins, and everything else.